they were turning away Russian reporters Thursday at the State Duma, Russia's lower house of parliament. But when I showed up, I flashed my accreditation card and a big American smile and walked right in. That's because of something that rarely gets mentioned about Russia, a correspondent accredited with U.S. media here can enjoy privileges that his Russian media counterparts can only dream about. The home of the Duma can be a surprisingly welcome, even friendly place for visitors, that is, if you're not from Radio Free Europe/Radio Liberty or Voice of America, both of which were barred this week. It was Moscow's retaliation to similar actions taken in Washington against Russia's RT network and news site, and another sign of the hard times the U.S.-Russian relationship has fallen upon. Seen from only the outside, the Duma is a homogeneous collective of nationalist Russian angst, the podium from which Russian politicians rail in lockstep against the forces that they believe to be at the root of this new deep chill, a Russophobic American establishment, intent on isolating Moscow and blaming it for Hillary Clinton's loss in the 2016 elections. These days, the Duma has plenty to rail at. On Wednesday, deputies, as members of parliament are called, were decrying what some see as an international conspiracy that led the International Olympic Committee to ban Russia from the Winter Olympics in South Korea. All week, they've railed against the treatment of RT in the United States as a violation of international norms on freedom of the press. Russia enraged by 2018 Winter Olympics ban over doping. As the deputies barreled toward a 4-13-1 vote to bar Radio Free Europe and Voice of America, they extolled the democratic virtues of the Duma as opposed to the anti-Russian U.S. Congress, the elite and the media. Until this week, it was still up in the air whether the Moscow bureau of the Washington Post would be tarred with the same brush. We had shown up in at least one report on a blacklist, and the Russian Foreign Ministry kept its cards close, promising only a surprise. For now, Russia decided to name only U.S. media that receive their funding from Congress, and not privately owned outlets such as the Post. Having dodged the bullet so far, I resolved to spend some quality time in a body that, it must be said, is not heavily covered by foreign reporters. I had spent only 2 days here in the past year, to report a story in June about a plan to relocate hundreds of thousands of Moscow residents. And even that was not exactly necessary. The Duma broadcasts its sessions live on its website, and reporters, not allowed entry into the main hall, see the same thing on closed-circuit TV. I was one of only 2 people in the media room this week who covered the first post-Soviet Duma at its inaugural session in December 1993. Back then, the Duma was politically diverse, chaotic, and hard to predict. Now, the Duma is caught up in the spirit of these bad times. Both the US and Russia to some extent are in the thrall of the so-called myths about each other created during the last 20 years, Pyotr Tolstoy, a deputy speaker of the Duma, told me. Kremlin attempts to tie U.S.